Welcome to the Happiness Happens podcast. I'm Simona Nicole, host of the show, mindset coach, and motivational speaker. I've made it my mission to help you get unstuck, shift your mindset, and understand your worth to help you live your most purposeful life. Each week, I will bring you an idea, guest, or a positive thought that will leave you inspired and empowered to win your life. We decide the stories we tell ourselves and where we invest our energy. I'm so grateful you popped in. Now let's dive in. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Happiness Happens podcast. I'm so fired up for today's guest. Her name is Emily O'Brien, and her and I met at an event in north of Toronto. It's in Vaughan, and it's called Flip the Script. And she was there selling this incredible popcorn. I became obsessed with her popcorn, and then I became obsessed with her. So Emily started a company, and it's called Comeback Snacks. What's crazy, though, is that this company started when Emily went to prison. Before she went to prison, she was an entrepreneur and a social media professional, and she had created her own firm at a young age and was super successful in it. Regrettably, addiction caused her to make some poor choices that culminated in a 4-year jail term. As her sentence began, Emily made it her mission to transform herself, get clean, and make a positive difference during her term. She didn't know how she'd make that difference at the time, but she knew that she would find something she cared about that would benefit from a purpose-driven facelift. So Comeback Snacks was born. So upon her release, she made a decision to start a popcorn company that used high-quality, health-conscious ingredients to create unique flavors inspired by the ones she found in prison. A fun, self-deprecating brand that would also help remove the stigma around people who had prior convictions and provide newly released offenders with the chance at a fresh start through training, empowerment, and education. So Emily has been featured by the CBC, CH News, Global TV, CTV, Vice Media, The Hamilton Spectator, AM 900, and many other media. Her web TV series is called Criminally Acclaimed, and it's also been launched on YouTube. I will tell you where you can find Emily at the end of the show because I know you're going to want to learn more from her. So welcome to the show.
Woo! Thank you.
So exciting. So exciting. Oh my gosh, no, it's so my pleasure. I'm too excited. I'm talking over you. Okay, so before we dive in, can you just tell us a little bit about the journey that brought you to where you are today? I read a little bit of it, but I want the full story.
Yeah, so I've lived a very full life, I would say. Growing up, I had a great family that always put me in sports and camps because I had a lot of energy. High school, wanted to find myself, find the right group to fit in. So I was kind of an awkward kid, so I definitely found alcohol to be very helpful in finding the right fit to where I was. Didn't really become a problem until university where I started binge drinking, but again, it wasn't really a problem because everyone was doing it. But I got a DUI and it was selfish, but at the same time, I couldn't figure out why I was doing it when I was drinking. I was like, I don't know why, and it was really mad. It was maddening to me why I couldn't stop. Anyway, graduated university with honors, traveled to Indonesia, Peru, Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, all these places to really kind of find the energy that I wanted to bring back into my personal life in Canada. And I think traveling exposes you to so many different kinds of energies. And for me, it was the people that I lived with and people that I met in Indonesia that really kind of molded me into how I want to be as a person. How did I want to interact in my everyday and with the people that I work with, the people that I love, and because I found they were just so relaxed there, super chill and happy with nothing. They would always offer if they had, I don't know, 2 donuts left and for the rest of the weekend, they would give you a donut. You know what I mean? They would just give you whatever they had.
Yeah.
Where in Canada, it's kind of and in more developed countries, we take so many things for granted. And I was like, no, I don't want to be like that. So after I traveled, I came back to Canada. I was 23 at the time, and then I did a corporate job in Toronto for about a year, and then decided I wanted to move to the city and take a stab at entrepreneurship because of all my jobs that I worked in high school, university, and around the world, I knew that I was good at working with people. I knew that I could give out samples and people would try it, or if I was in sales, like people would sign the paper. So it's like, okay, I can use my skills and talents to do something that I want to do instead of someone else's dream, which I didn't mind working for someone else's dream because you have to get experience somewhere. Like that's how I got a lot of my skills. And I also saw how businesses were built. And so when I started my own business in Toronto, and this is in 2013, it went well, but it also came with like a lot of partying. There was like a family thing that happened. My family got separated, and I don't know, people are probably like, oh, you were 26 at the time. And I was like, yeah, but when you see people you love in pain, splitting up, like, I'm sorry, like, that's hard. Like,
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. So, and I didn't really have the coping skills to deal with that. And the coping skill I thought I had was drinking, right? And so it just got so out of control. Still managed to keep my business going really well. Like, I was the master of doing both. Like, I'll tell you, I could stay up till 2 and get up at 8 after being hungover. And like, I did it well. But obviously, like, I started to get depressed from that. And then I met someone through my work who I thought like had a genuine interest in me, because he wasn't like gross. He wasn't like just obviously just trying to hook up with me. You know what I mean? Like, he actually was very genuine.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is so different from like all the guys I meet on Tinder. And
Yeah.
I was really looking for that, but like it's not like I was looking for a relationship. In fact, I wasn't looking for a relationship for like the times that I was in Toronto, but then he was just different. And so I got to know him over like the course of 7-8 months, and he knew exactly what was going on in my family. And then he comes over one day and just asks me to like bring he comes over. He's like, I want to take you on a trip, but there's just something that I have to do when I'm down there, and I just have to bring drugs back. And I was like, oh,
no big deal.
okay, now get out of my house. Like, I was like insulted. I was like, what an idiot comes over here and this. 4 hours later, I had said I was going on the trip, a couple drinks in. I said I'd go, but that was because he told me that, he was sorry that he ever said anything. And he was embarrassed. And I believed all this. And so he was like, all right, well, send me your passport info as soon as you get home. And so it's 2:30 in the morning, and I get home off. I took a picture, sent it off. Tickets were booked almost immediately.
Wow.
Like a couple days later, and 3 days into that trip, I was standing in a drug house with a bunch of other people getting measured to make a customized outfit for drug smuggling. And then
oh my god,
yeah, it's like such an intense story. I'm trying to short as I can, but so after that, basically we go on the plane ride home. It's just awful for me, but I trust him to, like, I'm still in that space where like he hasn't done anything wrong to me since like ever, right? Like, it's not like he punched me in the face. It's not like he was dragging me by my hair. And there is a part of me that liked being the girl that could do shit for their man. I mean, we hear it all the time. We're encouraged to do it, like in music and art and like everything, right? It's like, are you gonna be that? You know what I mean? And so I guess I wanted to be that person. I wanted to be important to him, and so I did it, and got arrested, and then sent to prison 2.5 years later. So.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So wait, you didn't go to prison right away?
No, because like it has to presumed not guilty.
Oh my, of course. Yeah, that would make so much sense. That's freaking crazy, honestly. What did you feel in that moment? Well, like when you got arrested, like when you got caught?
It was a mix between relief and anger. Because I was mad at him because I felt like I'd been tricked, and then this is all his fault. But I also was happy that they stopped me there, because at the end of the day, I didn't want to do it. Like, and I think the officers could sense that something was really wrong, which it was.
Exactly. And it's not like that was like your choice. And so if you get caught, then you don't have to go and do it again type of thing.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh my God.
Don't be targeted ever again,
Exactly. It's crazy because you're talking about like your story, and like we spoke about this when we met in person. Like, I don't know what it is, but I see so much of myself in you, minus the running drugs through the plane and minus getting arrested. I see a lot of, me and you, perfect family who would ever think that anything would ever be wrong, parents who've separated and like trying to find a way to deal with that pain. And I think that's why I'm like, just so like, I just love everything you do because it feels familiar to me. And so I love knowing that there's, people can go through really hard shit and make it through the other side and like do something that, that means something,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What was the moment that made you shift your life to where it is now? Was it while you were in prison? Like, is there a specific catalyst that started that shift?
Yeah, it was when I actually got arrested a second time. So like
Girl!
I was on charges. Like I was on these charges, so I had these conditions like that I had to wait for, like that I had to abide by while I was like going through the court.
Gotcha.
Those conditions like was house arrest, and I had to live at my mom's house, and I didn't really like that, so I decided to go out and get cigarettes. And because I was stressed, I was drinking, smoking. I was like, I didn't like this. It was very traumatic for me. It was a shock.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I thought it was gonna be over and done with in a month, and this went on for years. So at that point I decided I didn't like the rules. But so after I went to jail for the weekend, my lawyer was like, Emily, if you mess up again, like you're not gonna get out of jail until your proceedings are finalized. And I was like,
God.
okay. So that's when I was like, I can't mess up anymore. And I have to wait. I have to behave until these proceedings are finalized. I can prove myself. And so I also started planning, and I figured out where I was going. I befriended people that had done time or had the same experience. I did a lot of research to know that I wasn't like the only one, and to see that like read success stories of people that had been through something like this. I tried looking up stats too. Like I was like such a research junkie. I was obsessed with the phenomenon that I was in, with the situation, and you couldn't find it anywhere. So after that I just kind of submitted a guilty plea and went in ready. Like I wasn't scared.
Mm-hmm.
I was relieved to go in. I was like, finally it's over.
Mm-hmm. That's so true. It sounds like you okay, do you think like the amount of mental preparation that you did to like be in jail and incarcerated was like enough? Like, do you think that, because there's people like get pulled off the street that go to jail and like you're there for like 10 years. You know what I mean? Like, Do you think that what you did was enough to actually prepare you for the experience that you would have like inside?
Wait, what do you mean?
Like, I don't know, like, because you had time to like process what was happening. You know what I mean? And so you did all your research and you did all of your, you plan to go. You know what I mean? So when you got there, like, did it feel like all the planning and the research that you did was enough to keep your mindset in a positive space while you were in there?
I mean, nothing can really prepare you 100% for prison. There was like so much that happened, but like, oh my God, this light, hold on.
I like it. It's like a ray of light coming down.
But like I was prepared to handle whatever came in the way, but there's still not enough that you can like, there's still so many questions that you don't have answers to. So
totally. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's shift into your business, comeback snacks. So I want to quickly pause this interview and tell you about the Handel Group coaches that I've had the honor and privilege of bringing onto the Happiness Happens podcast. With every conversation and interview, I've learned something so impactful and so life-changing. Inner You Life is the online coaching course from Handel Group that gives you the tools to get yourself unstuck, wildly happy, and thriving where it matters most to you. Your relationship to yourself, career, love, body, money, time, and more. From wherever, whenever. Recommended by Hugh Jackman, Dr. Mark Hyman, Forrest Whitaker, Elena Brower, and hundreds more. Taught in MIT, Stanford School of Business, and 50+ institutes of learning across the world. Visit inneryou.coach and use the code HAPPINESSHAPPENS at checkout for $75 off. Now, back to the episode.
Yeah.
So in this business, so you started this company while you were in jail.
Yeah.
And I think that's so cool. Had you ever thought of doing this business before you went in? Or was
No,
it purely born out of there?
it was purely born out of there. I went in
Oh,
knowing that I was going to build something in there. I just didn't know what it was going to be because I wanted it to be relevant to my experience. And I
totally.
haven't experienced until I went. So
Small detail. That's really, really cool. And so um how was the business born?
we
Just
were
through
all
the
like
concept.
we were having a Super Bowl party one day, and people were making snacks, cupcakes, and then one of the girls was making popcorn, and she put like lemon pepper. Like we had access to like a small variety of spices, and one of the spice varieties was lemon pepper, and the other one was dill, and she actually put both on it. And I
Oh,
tried it, and I was like, "This is actually like super tasty." And then like I didn't really think anything of it. I was like, "This is good," but then I was like, "Wait a minute, this is like super creative. It's healthy. It's made by someone in prison." And then I began to think of like all the what am I trying to say here? Like all the ways that I could tell people's story because of like the popcorn. Like
hmm.
every kernel pops differently, right? So that's when I was like, there's no really Canadian popcorn companies out there that are like on a store shelf. There is competition. Like there, don't get me wrong. It's like a saturated market, but in terms of like a popcorn company that has unique healthy flavors and that does more than just popcorn and it can serve a social purpose,
Mm-hmm.
that's when I knew I had something.
That's so good. And so what was the process from there? So then you had this idea, and did you like were you able to just go full in and like start creating any type of flavor you wanted, you know, like because I don't know what it's like on the inside, right? Like I don't know if you're allowed to just go and make your popcorn at whatever hour you want, and like how did you build your business from the inside? Like I want to know that story.
So I talked to a couple friends on the outside about this idea, and one of them in particular, his name's Ryan, he really, really liked it. He's like, I want to help you do this. So he would actually send me in like market research
Oh
information.
my god.
Yeah, so he would mail me stuff in. He'd mail me in food trends. He'd mail me in like recipe ideas. We started designing the logo like via snail mail. I also started like going to every prison activity that had outside volunteers so I could start building friendships with people that had an interest in rehabilitating people that were inside. Because anyone that works in a prison that works like to help people prepare is like on your side. Like so that's the people you want to talk to.
Yeah.
And so I started building like a network of friends and also like people in the media who came in. There, yeah, there was like
Mm.
interviews that were done in prison, and I kept the guy's business card, and then I reached out to him when I was out, and yeah, now it's like I'm
You're
doing
like,
it for
I'm
BBC.
back. That's so cool. And so, okay, so what is your favorite part about getting to do your business? Because I know that you're doing a rebrand right now from where it was and where it is. What's the purpose of the rebrand? Like, where are you wanting to take your business into this year and like beyond? If you feel like sharing.
This year is definitely getting on bigger retailer shelves, like in geographic expansion, and then next year we'll probably get into like selling a lot of the spices. But
Mm.
you don't know, you got to pick a pony, right? You can't try to do everything at once, or else everything will suffer.
Exactly. Oh man, that's so good.
Yeah.
It's true. So, what's your favorite part about what you get to do?
Prove that you can start over if you just put your mind to it. Like I love like using my rebelliousness to rebel against the status quo. Like it's just, to everyone that's like talking shit, it's like, well, watch me. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. And to know you're actually doing something good for society because you have lived experience. Like I had my own stereotypes about people that were in jail. Like I dressed up as a convict for Halloween 5 years ago. Right? Like I, thought that I was so far away from that I could be that for Halloween. Like what, so it's like it's crazy how it all happened, but it just in a way I think like whatever higher power is out there wanted me to do this because I know I have access to the resources that the majority of people in prison don't, who would
Hmm.
equally need the help, and most of them need it more. Like sometimes I would actually feel guilty. And I know I need to like work on that, but like sometimes society makes you feel guilty. It's like, well, you had everything, it's like you have no excuse for being in pain, right? Or it's like
Yeah.
people try to discredit you for the work that you do because you have a family or because you have an education. And it's like, well, you can't just please everyone, but you just gotta keep going because it's the ones that keep going that get to the top.
Yes. Yes, exactly. And I love that. I love that you said that because it's really not like one size fits all. You know what I mean? Like it's not just because you have a loving family that you are predetermined to, have everything that you could ever want in your life. You know what I mean? Like it takes hard work to shift your mindset. It takes hard work to feel fulfilled in your life. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people just go through life just the way that they do. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people don't actually wake up. You know what I mean? And a lot of people can show their jealousy of whatever you're doing in a way that's trying to bring you down. But when you know that your purpose and what you're supposed to be doing is so much stronger than what other people say, like that's the best part.
That's it.
That's it. So, okay. What kind of judgment do you think that you face now having, gone to prison, if any? If not, then no worries. But if you do, having gone to prison and like starting your business, like, do you find like there's a story that you're constantly having to like combat, if that makes any sense?
I think there's always going to be judgment. It's what we do when we're too lazy to see the real truth.
Mm,
And so many people out there are lazy, right? And they're looking for an excuse to like not change their views. And I don't know, it doesn't I feel like for me, like I might face it in my area, but then there's people that face it in other areas. So it's just something that you have to coexist with,
yeah.
right?
Do you think a lot of people are aware of that though? You know what I mean? Like, do you think a lot of people are aware that they have things that they need to change?
No. It's our job to change it. What I find is like if they're gonna change, they'll change like you can't hammer change into people, right? Like you
Mhm.
just have to learn on their own. They just have to be interested
And ready.
and trying to tackle everything.
Exactly.
Not gonna it's not gonna work, right? So you have to like invest in educating people that already believe, that are already kind of in that direction, right? Instead of trying to change people that are over here and make them go over here, it's easier to take people that are over here and go there.
Exactly. No, that makes perfect
These
sense.
people can help the people that are there, right? So it's kind of like,
It's like a chain.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, okay. What kind of work do you do now for people who who are incarcerated still, or people who are out? Like, how do you support like the community? Like, I know that there's different ways that you like give back. I remember when you and I were talking, you were saying like you like to hire people and like to help you who have been incarcerated and like start to shift that story there.
Yeah, I like to speak with employers. I work with chambers of commerce and host like lunch and learns about the benefits of hiring people with criminal records. I also work with people that have gone through the system, whether that's on an individual basis or like a group basis, telling them the steps that they want to take, or even just talking to them for an hour, sending them a picture, because you can change someone's like thoughts in
Yeah.
like 10 seconds, right? But sometimes people just need like a relatable example. Like for me to quit drinking, my parents could tell me to quit drinking every day. You think I was listening to them? Not a chance, right?
Exactly.
Someone relatable to you. And that's when I think it's the most effective. So, yeah.
I like that a lot. How did you sort of get yourself into that space of going into different areas and talking to different people, working with the chambers of commerce? Like, did you just were like, yes, I want to do that, and like I'm going?
I decided that that's what I wanted to do because I know that I'm well spoken, and I know that being educated helps me articulate things better.
Hmm.
When people challenge me, I'm not going to be like, well, fuck you. You know what I mean? It's like I can like handle good conversation, and sometimes just the way society is, they want to listen to people that are like similar to them, right? So it's like,
Hmm.
okay, if I can like pave the way for like the people that are scared to use their voice or don't want to use their voice because they don't want to be known, you know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
prison is very traumatizing for a lot of people, and the last thing a lot of people want to do is talk about it, just because it brings up horrible memories, or like you know, a reminder that they have no one, or like they have very few people in their life. So I wanted to like be that like beacon of hope for them too. So
That's amazing.
mm.
That's really amazing that
I
you
love
do
it. It's
that.
like my family. I feel like they're like my family now. Like some of the younger girls that like feel like I'm like you can do it, you know what I mean? And they text me all the time, and you know, so it's like I just try to, even that just like that one text a day can keep people on the right track.
Well, literally is what I'm thinking right now. Like just to have you as their role model and like to know that, you know, it doesn't have to be the way that it's always been. And like you can make a change even if it seems like the world is against you. You know what I mean? Because there's so much like stigma, you know, around people, like even just hiring people, like getting a job after, like I can only imagine that that would be just really, really challenging. So to know that there's somebody that they can turn to and look up to,
Mm-hmm.
you to help them see that, you know,
And even just help them respond to questions and use their experience
yeah.
in a more positive way. Because if you come out of prison and then all you've been told is that you're a piece of shit or that like you're never going to get a job, well, that's what you're going to believe. But if you talk to someone that tells you how to change the, not change the story, but change the way that you describe the story and
Mm.
how you experience the story as an asset instead of a like a liability, that's when you can get the jobs, because that's when you can show that you do have strengths and that you did learn. And that's what employers want to see, is honesty, right?
That's so good. I love that. I love that. You do so much good stuff, man. Honestly, like you should be so proud of yourself. Just like with your business, like in general, like it's just mind blowing because it's already hard enough. Like, okay, if you think of people who start like any kind of like regular business, it's hard enough to start your business. Like, oh, okay, I'm like, am I good enough to do this business? Like all those limiting thoughts that you have. And then you have all this massive like lived experience that you bring forth into your business and everything that you do. Like that's really powerful. Like that, yeah. You're so
Yeah.
cute. I love it. I love it. So can you tell me a little bit about your web TV series? How did that come about?
So that happened, what the hell, criminally acclaimed?
Yeah.
Oh my god, how did I even meet Simon? It was like I somehow met these producers of this film studio. Oh, this is how it happened. I was doing a photo shoot, and
Okay.
the photographer was looking for like a space to shoot, and he's like, I know these guys, they own this building, and ended up being a film studio that owned these buildings called Digital Canaries, and they also do like podcasts, and they rent out the space to like Amazon, Netflix, Apple. So
Cool.
it's like a multimedia kind of, they've got like a bunch of buildings in Hamilton. And then they heard about my story and they're like, oh, Emily, you're like a true character. And I'm like, oh, thanks. And why don't we do like a podcast just to get your story out there? And they let me do it like completely for free. And I got to see how a podcast was made, and I brought people on the show, and it was filmed in 4K, and it was really cool. So it has like people's experience of my situation from their eyes. Like, because I can tell the story, but then like that's maybe not obviously how my dad experienced it, right? Like I can't, I have no place telling other people's story.
Exactly.
So
That's so cool. When did that launch?
that happened last year, and it wrapped up in 2019 at the end.
So
So
cool.
we like, yeah, it's all out on the internet now.
Oh my God, that's really crazy.
Yeah.
It's funny how like things happen and like doors open up once you sort of just step into what you're actually like meant to be doing. You know what I mean? Like who would have ever thought that, like, I'm sure you weren't thinking when you started your popcorn business that all of these incredible things would be happening now. I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
you probably imagined that it would, but like not in the same way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. So what do you have? Oh, I already kind of asked you, like, what do you have planned for, you know, like 2020 and stuff like that. But what are you working on right now that you can share over the next like few months?
Working on a small TV show.
Cool.
Yeah, yeah. So we're just collecting the funding for that. We've already got 30,000 in funding for it, but
Wow.
we want to make it like an hour of content, but you need more than 30 grand to make an hour of content. Like that's just how it works.
Yeah. What's it
Yeah,
about? Or am I allowed to know what's it about? Or not yet?
it'll be me as the host, I can tell you that.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so there's that, and yeah, continuing my speaking engagements. Like I love talking about my story, and oh, and also I'm starting a workshop. It's called Crisis Management. So how to manage when like you're you or your company goes through something in the public domain. And so it's kind of how to handle that, from everything from interviews to like social media interactions.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Thank you.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
We just rehearsed it last week, so.
That's really exciting. I love that. Good for you. Is there anything else that you want to share with our listeners today?
Honestly, no. Like, I feel like that's good. I don't want to overwhelm them.
I know, right?
Yeah. Everything's on my website, comebacksnacks.com, and I am EmilyO'Brien.ca is my new website. I actually just launched.
Oh.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, I'll put all that in the show notes so that people can see. But I do have one more question for you before we wrap up. And it is, this is a question that I ask all my guests. How can someone begin to create a little more happiness in their lives every single day, starting today?
A little bit of happiness. For me, my happiness is music.
Oh.
And people like, a lot of people, okay, this is a good one. Happiness would be reframing how you perceive driving somewhere. Because if you perceive driving somewhere as, oh my God, I have to sit in traffic, blah, 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 you're gonna like have a negative drive. But if you reframe it as a time where you get to be by yourself, get to listen to music, get to be alone, like get to do whatever you want, basically, you can turn it into like you time, which is also actually really rewarding. So even if I'm in traffic, it's like, this is still me time. So I think reframing driving is a really,
that's so good. It's so good because especially if you live in the GTA, you're probably driving or commuting like hours of your day, at least a couple. So if you can make those couple hours more enjoyable, like you're gold. That's awesome. No one's ever said that before. I love that.
Oh, God.
Love it. Thank you. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
Oh my God, you're so welcome. And thank you everyone so much for tuning in to this week's episode. I hope you loved this and Emily as much as I do. And remember, happiness happens when you're least expecting it. Thanks so much for being here today. I hope these words have brought you inspiration, insight, and a bit more happiness. Please leave a comment or a review if this episode resonates with you. I would be so grateful. Until next time, remember that happiness happens when you're least expecting it.